Hello, Michael from CTW here, and today we're going to continue to build on the tests we've been working through and creating. We're going to use our test, my first test speed, 4 speeds, and now we're going to turn this into a PVP. So you no longer have to go through a wizard and do other contortions to create a PVP. You can take any test you have and simply add the command create PVP. It comes over here, and if you drag it up to after the last speed and drop it, you will now take this test, which was just 4 speeds, and create a PVP. If I click on the PVP, you see I have choices: zero displacement, centered at zero, peak velocity, and peak force. We typically do centered at zero displacement, and we give it a window. Now this window should be applicable to the stroke you're running, and it basically on a 2-inch stroke or 50 millimeters, 0.1 inch is a default. That should work. If you're doing a larger stroke, you might want a slightly larger window to capture basically that peak velocity area. Now, just to talk a little bit about the various ways, we do centered at zero displacement because it creates a small window and averages all the data that's captured in that window, and it's the most repeatable. Now, some people might use a peak velocity or a peak force, and there's nothing wrong with that, but these should be used as long as you know what you're doing. So, for instance, this peak force, if your damper, shock, fork, any number of things, has any kind of spring force in it, either through an airbag or an air chamber or an internal spring, peak force may happen after peak velocity. And that's a trick because the PVP might not look like you're used to. So if you see that peak force and it comes after peak velocity because there's a spring inside and it's still collapsing and still gaining force, this PVP will look very different than centered at zero displacement. That is just something you need to be aware of and make sure you understand it. If you stick with centered at zero displacement, you're going to have the most consistent results. If you're really interested in the force, then maybe that's something you would want to try later and see how that works for you. So we have now created a PVP. So we're going to take the test we've been using, my first test with 4 speeds. We're just going to add a name to that, and you can see how easy it is to generate multiple tests based off the starting one. That means it's very easy to use, and you just keep building based on the things you really want to test. And you're going to have occasions where one corner of your car you want to run faster, and one corner you might run slower, and you build a test specifically for those corners. And you can even name the test anything you want, but it could literally be left front test, and then the other test would be other corners, and you have basically tailored the test to specific parts of your car. And that's important, and that's the power you have with CTW Probe. So this is how you create a PVP out of anything. Now, any number of test speeds in here will go into the PVP. You can certainly add as many as you want. If you don't quite understand what a PVP is, CTW did a video, extended video. It's on our YouTube channel that you can look at, where we explain in details what a PVP actually is and how it differs from just an individual speed. So something you may want to look at and further understand and really get your head around what it is you're trying to do and get from your dampers. So everybody kind of has their own way of doing things, and we're just trying to give everybody the option to do what it is they really want to see. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, contact us using the information in the video description.